when the skies turned red. The attack came at 4:37 Universal Time. No declaration of war. No warning. No reason. One moment, Commander Aaron Voss was sipping cold coffee aboard the Aegis, Earth's orbital defense platform. The next, the skies above Earth turned red. Alarms shrieked. Holographic displays ballooned with data, enemy ships, inbound trajectories, impossible weapon signatures. Dozens of unidentified vessels had materialized from void space, bypassing all known defenses. They didn't broadcast identification codes. They didn't respond to hails. They just opened fire. Voss stood frozen as Earth's upper atmosphere lit up like a second sun. Blinding streaks of fusion-laced plasma rained down from orbit. Cities evaporated in seconds. New York, Shanghai, Lagos, Sao Paulo. Entire skylines turned to vapor. Oceanic shockwaves triggered tsunamis that swallowed coast before civilians could even scream. Then came the biological warheads. A dozen pods burst over the northern hemisphere. Within minutes, the platform's bioscanners picked up atmospheric anomalies, viral compounds, engineered spore clouds, bioplasmic contagions with no known cure. Voss watched as population metrics on her screen began to plummet. Billions were dying, and she couldn't fire a single shot. The Aegis's defense systems were being jammed. Nothing got through. Earth was defenseless. "Where's our fleet?" Voss barked. "Scattered," her XO replied, pale and shaking. The Sol Defense Armada's command relays were targeted first. "They are dark. Evacuation orders. No time. We're losing all contact with ground stations. They're gone. Gone." Erin Voss clenched her fists so tightly her nails cut through skin. She had trained for invasion, not annihilation. She had warned the Council for years that humanity needed contingency protocols. But no one listened. Peace was profitable. War was ancient history. On the screen, Earth burned. She forced herself to breathe. "Think. Begin deep space relay transmission," she said. "Priority 1. Full spectrum." The comms officer turned, shocked. "To who?" "Commander." "To everyone." The platform's long-range transmission array blinked to life. Across every human colony, station, and ship, a single message pulsed through the black. "This is Commander Aaron Voss. Earth has fallen. Repeat, Earth is under genocidal attack by unknown alien forces. All major cities have been destroyed. Biological weapons deployed. No demands. No contact. No survivors. We don't know who they are, but they came to kill us. If you are human and you can hear this, you are the last of us. Survive. Adapt. Remember. And when the time comes, make them pay." The comms officer swallowed hard, eyes wet. Message sent. Voss turned to the viewplate. The once blue Earth was a canvas of swirling ash and firestorms. Pieces of her broke inside, but the fire in her chest refused to die. "They killed millions," she whispered. "No, billions." The screen updated again. Civilian population, 10.4 billion. Then 8.9. Then 6.7. Faster than any war in history. Worse than every past atrocity combined. And still, the enemy ships remained overhead, watching, waiting, as if daring the survivors to crawl out and strike back. Voss's voice hardened. "Reroute all orbital assets. I want scans on every single one of those enemy ships. Weaknesses, heat signatures, FTL vectors. We're not done yet." Her XO looked at her, eyes wide. "We may be the last command structure left. We'll be the first to respond. We rebuild. We retaliate." The officer hesitated. "You want revenge?" Voss shook her head slowly. "No, I want extinction." As the enemy fleet vanished into the void, leaving only silence and death behind, the remaining human colonies on Mars, Europa, Titan, and beyond received Voss's transmission. Some wept, others raged, or remembered, because in that moment, the age of diplomacy ended, and the age of reckoning began. Ashes and steel. 6 months after Earth fell, the solar system was quiet, but not idle. From the frozen plains of Europa to the buried domes of Mars, humanity was no longer mourning. It was building. Commander Aaron Voss stood on a steel catwalk suspended over Titan's Shipyard 9. Below her, the skeleton of a dreadnought took shape, TS Vengeance, the first of the Retribution-class warships. Designed in secret years ago as a theoretical deterrent, it was now being forged in steel, titanium, and fury. "You're sure about the name?" asked Admiral Reza Malik, head of the Mars Defense Corps. Voss didn't look away from the massive vessel below. "I'm sure." Malik nodded grimly. "Then the galaxy will remember it." The human colonies had united in the Ashes. No more national flags. No more fractured military commands. Earth was gone, but its survivors had become something more, a single species, bound by grief and rage. They called themselves the Terran Reclamation Command, and Voss was its supreme executor. Factories once used to build atmospheric harvesters now produced war drones. Terraforming reactors had been retooled to power starship cores. AI constructs, previously banned, were awakened, their neural routines optimized for battle strategy, infiltration, and targeted extermination. On Mars, a team of surviving scientists activated Project Erebus, an antimatter-based orbital annihilation system once shelved for being inhuman. On Europa, technicians perfected void core drives, enabling faster-than-light jumps with brutal efficiency. Earth was gone, but humanity's capacity for innovation and destruction was very much alive. "What's our first target?" Malik asked. Voss handed him a data tablet. Zalari mining outpost on VX-771. Remote. Lightly defended. Civilian population, 20,000. Recon recommends disabling infrastructure. Seizing the colony. Voss's voice was cold. "We don't seize. We erase." Malik stared at her. "Those are workers. Non-combatants. So are the billions they killed," she replied. "We're not negotiating. We're not conquering. We're cleansing." There was no debate. The fleet was launched within the week. 3 warships, 5 carrier drones, 2 experimental AI-controlled Wraith frigates. Their jump into Zalari space was fast and unannounced. VX-771 never saw it coming. The attack lasted 17 minutes. Satellites were shredded. Orbital docks vaporized. Fusion charges turned the colony's primary settlement into a crater. Survivors fled into the deserts, until suborbital drones swept the sand clean. The first operation of the Terran Reclamation Command left nothing behind but molten rock and silence. It sent a message to the galaxy. Humanity was no longer a minor death world race. It had become a force of nature, a storm with memory. Back at Titan Shipyard 9, Voss reviewed footage of the raid. Some of the enemy ran. Some knelt. Some tried to shield their children. She watched every frame. She did not look away. "Reports from our Mars network," Malik said behind her. "The Galactic Council is panicking. Dozens of species are calling emergency sessions. No one expected us to respond this quickly." "Let them panic," she replied. "They watched Earth burn and did nothing." He hesitated. "We're building weapons that violate every interstellar code. Genocidal weapons." "So did the Zalari," she snapped. "No one stopped them either." Malik paused. "What if this becomes who we are?" "It already is." She turned back to the window. Below, another ship was being laid, TRS Justice. And beyond it, another, TRS Silence. Humanity wasn't just fighting back. It was reinventing itself. No longer explorers. No longer diplomats. Now they were executioners. Voss closed her eyes and remembered Earth's final moments. Oceans boiling, cities torn from the crust, and the quiet after the screaming stopped. She opened them again and felt only steel inside. "We didn't start this war," she murmured. "But we'll be the ones who end it." Worlds set afire. Zalari Prime watched its colonies die one by one. Over the course of 4 months, the Terran Reclamation Command systematically wiped out 12 Zalari systems. No warnings. No declarations. Only death. They struck with terrifying precision. Hypervelocity kinetic rods pulverized cities from orbit. AI-controlled Wraith fleets jammed comms and slaughtered retreating ships. Singularity bombs collapsed atmospheres, rendering once thriving biospheres into lifeless rock. And each time, A brief message was broadcast in every known language. This is justice for Earth. You killed billions. Now we erase you. At first, the Zalari believed it was a bluff. They sent fleets. They vanished. Then they begged the Galactic Council to intervene. But the Council was paralyzed with fear. No one dared move against humanity now. Commander Aaron Voss stood aboard the TRS Vengeance, overlooking the ruins of Thalvon III, a Zalari colony world reduced to a glowing crater. Black smoke curled into the stars. Scattered wreckage drifted silently through orbit. "We've completed target sweep," reported Lieutenant Kale, eyes cold beneath his visor. "No survivors. Civilians, military, synthetic, gone." Voss gave a curt nod. "Good. Mark the system as cleansed." Kale hesitated. There was a civilian convoy trying to flee. Mostly children. We intercepted it. And we followed protocol. She said nothing. Her face remained unreadable. The officers around her said even less. That was the unspoken truth of this campaign. There were no exceptions, no spared lives. The line between vengeance and genocide had been crossed, and humanity had chosen to keep walking. Later that night, in her private command chamber, Voss reviewed surveillance from the convoy strike. A small ship, painted in peace colors, trying to escape the system. No weapons, just cries for help. And then, obliterated in a flash of light. Her finger hovered over the pause command. She didn't press it. Instead, she opened a secure channel to Admiral Malik. "We move on Zalari Prime within the week," she said. "Are the eradication payloads ready?" "Final testing underway," Malik replied. "Nanoplague drones, atmosphere igniters, mantle destabilizers, all operational. And the planet's population estimate, 3.7 billion. There was a beat of silence. "Is there a diplomatic response?" Voss asked. Malik nodded. "They've sent a surrender request, offering reparations, exile for their war council. They even proposed giving us 3 of their core worlds in exchange for peace." "Did you answer?" "I waited for your word." Voss closed her eyes. Images of Earth, her Earth, rushed through her mind. Her mother's garden in the Pacific Arcology, the skyline of New London, the laughter of children near the Zero Grave Parks. All gone. She opened her eyes. "Ice. Tell them no." Malik's voice was low. "And if they beg, then they can die on their knees." She ended the transmission. The next day, Operation Eclipse began. The largest human fleet ever assembled, 82 warships, 15 autonomous strike platforms, and 3 Erebus-class destroyers, folded into hyperspace en route to Zalari Prime. Their orders were simple: extinction. News of the impending assault spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, systems went dark, governments scrambled, and once proud empires pledged neutrality. The galaxy had never feared Earth before. Now, it feared what Earth had become. Back aboard the Vengeance, Voss stood before her assembled commanders. "This is not war," she said, voice echoing through the command hall. "This is judgment. They called us savages. They called us weak. They killed without hesitation, without mercy. They never expected humanity to rise from the ash." She stepped forward, eyes locked on her officers. "They will now witness the price of our silence. We don't negotiate with murderers. We bury them." A silent nod passed among the ranks. There would be no turning back. Humanity had been broken, then reforged in fury. And now, they would burn the galaxy clean. Echoes in the void. Zalari Prime was gone. Where once a world spun, blue oceans, green continents, 3 billion lives. Now there was only dust and molten shards drifting in the void. The final assault had lasted 2 hours. Planetary shields crumbled under coordinated gravitic shear. Firestorms ignited from atmosphere disruptors. Mantle destabilizers triggered global quakes. And in the last moments, a singularity bomb collapsed the planet's core into itself, shattering the crust like glass. No survivors. Not one ship escaped. Not one voice called out. Only silence. Commander Aaron Voss watched from orbit aboard the TRS Vengeance. Expression unreadable. Posture still. The viewport no longer showed a planet. Only debris. Final sweep complete, Lieutenant Kale reported. The Zalari are extinct. The words felt like lead. Voss didn't respond. She simply turned and left the bridge. In the quiet of her quarters, Voss finally let herself breathe. 4 years, she had lived with Earth's final scream echoing in her mind. She had replayed it endlessly, the lights going out, the continents burning, the helpless voices reaching for salvation that never came. Her vengeance had not been swift. It had been meticulous, calculated, absolute. Now it was over. But the silence didn't feel like peace. Across the galaxy, species watched in stunned horror. Humanity's transformation from fractured Deathwalders to exterminators had rewritten every diplomatic doctrine. Empires halted expansion. Wars were frozen mid-conflict. Treaties were rewritten with Earth's silence in mind. No one dared provoke them again. The Galactic Council, once arrogant and dismissive of humanity, now referred to Earth as the Graveborn, a race resurrected in death's shadow. Alien envoys arrived at Mars and Europa in quiet ships, bearing gifts, offering peace, trade, tribute. Some called humanity guardians, others monsters. Voss accepted their messages but said little. The Terran Reclamation Command held all human systems, Zalari territory, and dozens of resource-rich worlds once part of the Dominion. Humanity now controlled more space than it ever had before, more than it ever dreamed. But no civilians lived on those new worlds. Only automated factories, drone fleets, and military installations. The stars had grown quiet. A year after the fall of Zalari Prime, Voss stood on an orbital station above Earth, or what remained of it. The surface below was scarred beyond recognition. Oceans vaporized, continents fractured, the sky a permanent storm of ash. No one had returned. No one could. She stood alone on the observation deck as Malik approached. "They are calling it the Year of Silence," he said. "No wars, no attacks, no threats, just silence." Voss nodded slowly. "And Faye?" He looked at her. "Is that what we wanted? It's what we needed." He hesitated. "And now?" She looked down at Earth's broken body. Her voice softened. "We build something better. We remember, but we never forget." There was a long pause. "You think they'll ever come for us again?" Malik asked. She didn't answer right away. Then, quietly, not twice. That night, a new transmission left the solar system. It was short. No threats, no rage, just a message carried on every known frequency. "We remember Earth. We remember who stood by while it died. We remember who watched, who laughed, who did nothing. We are still here. We are watching. Come in peace, or not at all." In the shadows of the galaxy, the message echoed through ancient space, into the hearts of empires and kings. And none dared speak against it, because they remembered too. They remembered what happened when the stars turned red. They remembered how a dead planet birthed an empire of fire. And above the ruins of Earth, a silent fleet stood watch, proof that humanity had not only survived, it had become legend.